Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so very excited to have you here. Since I ended up missing doing a Christmas reading vlog, reading Christmas books for a week, I decided that I kind of wanted to pick it back up in a different way. Since we are still in winter but not necessarily in Christmas, I figured that I could still go ahead and do reading just regular winter books for a week. So that's what we're going to be doing now. I found a few that really just have winter in the title. I don't necessarily know if they are specific winter books. I don't know if the setting is winter. I don't necessarily know what exactly makes these books winter, but I looked up winter books and these are some of the ones that came up. At least they all say winter in the title. So to me, I assume that that means that they are winter books, whether or not they actually are, whether or not they have flashbacks into different seasons. I don't really know, but I just kind of did a quick search and these are the ones that piqued my interest that did kind of fall in that category. At least it felt like to me. So the first one that I decided that I wanted to start off with, I don't really know much about it. I didn't really do much digging and I also couldn't really figure out what the deal is with this one. But I'm going to be starting off with In Winter Came to Henry's World. This is, you probably can't see that. This one's on Kindle Unlimited. All of these are going to be because I don't think I physically have any books that have either winter in the title or I know for a fact are specific winter books. None of them came up whenever I did a search for them, so that's why we're reading the books on Kindle Unlimited today. But I did look at this one. This one is a short one. I think there is a 500-page book that I was looking at getting into, and then the other one's maybe like 300 to 400 pages, something like that. So this one is, I don't know if it's a YA or if it's just a children's book. I really don't know. I did already start this, I'm not gonna lie. I finished one of my books early, so I wanted to kind of go ahead and get a small jump on it. I definitely am not that far into this by any means. I'm only 37 pages into it. I've just been reading it at night, so that way I don't have to whip out my headlamp and read a physical book because I already have this one on my Kindle, so I might as well. But I'm definitely not that far into this, like I just said, so this is the one that I wanted to start off with just because I don't know anything about this and I feel like this one's going to be easier to just get out of the way. Then we have a thriller book and then maybe just a normal fiction book. I don't really know. Again, I didn't really dive into what these books entail. I don't know what is in them at all. I'm just kind of going off the title and then guesstimating that they are going to be fitting the vibe of the video. But I honestly really don't know. I will go ahead and try to peek at the description of this one so I can kind of read it to you and you can kind of see what it was. When I first read the description, I didn't necessarily put two and two together that it was more of a children's book. I thought that it was more just going to be kind of a quirky little fantasy in a way, but after further digging, I think that the age group was like 8 to 18 or something like that, so I really don't know what is the classification for that. I don't know what that actually means. It's probably just a kid's book and I'm gonna be reading it. Oh well, I'm not really that concerned about it though. It did seem kind of interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I pulled up the description for you so I can read it to you, but it says, Henry's grandfather has a mouse living in his beard and his sister has magic candles stuck in her hair, but that's the least of his troubles now because Henry has opened a door he can't get closed and strange creatures are slipping into his world. So I thought that just sounded really fascinating. That was that's very different. That's very odd, very unusual. I don't really know what that means necessarily, but I'm kind of intrigued to figure it out. Obviously that doesn't to me necessarily convey children's book. Maybe to you, maybe you're like, Megan, what the heck, that's very clearly a children's book, but I don't care. It is what it is. It was a short little read here. It's only like 232 pages and I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to know what's gonna happen. It's definitely been kind of odd. I haven't got really to any good parts. Like I said, I'm only 37 pages in as of right now. So far, Henry's house is caught on fire, and I think this was like either the day before Christmas or just leading up to Christmas. So for Christmas, he is not able to open any of their gifts. Him and his sister aren't. They're stuck at either their friend's house, their neighbor's house, someone along those lines. They are spending Christmas with them while his mom is in the hospital with his dad. The mom decides to take the kids over to their grandfather's house, their dad's dad, and the dad is completely against it. He doesn't want them to go over there. He's protesting. He's like, whatever you do, don't take them over to my dad's house. But she does anyways because she thinks that the guy is a good guy. I don't know. If he's got mice coming out of his beard, we'll see what that's all about because I really don't know. I don't know if it's going to be kind of corny. As of right now, it doesn't necessarily seem that bad. But I guess we'll see. We'll figure out together because I really don't know. Like I said, I didn't necessarily get the vibe that this was a children's book until I actually went onto the Amazon listing to see. But who knows? If it's a kid book, then maybe I'll enjoy it. I don't know. Like what? The Hunger Games were like kid books. We read those in like middle school. So if this is like a middle school book, then maybe I'll enjoy it too, and it won't be that difficult to understand, hopefully. I will say that I did notice that this does feel a little bit younger writing style because there's no world building at all. There's no descriptions of where we're at necessarily, at least to my knowledge. I could have just skipped over them. That's definitely a very high possibility. I do that very frequently if you haven't noticed already. But it seems really cute right now, and I'm not necessarily into it quite yet. Now that I know that it's a children's book, I am kind of hesitant about it, but I'm not gonna let that get in the way. If it's a kid's book and I like it, then maybe I just like kids' books better. Who knows? I do tend to gravitate more towards the YA books also, just because I understand those a lot better. They're a lot clearer and they're a lot easier to read, I'm sure, as most of you would agree. I'm just kind of rambling on at this point, but I am going to get cracking on this today, finish a little bit more of it. I do have a lot of stuff to get done today and to just be working on for the rest of the week, so I don't think that I'm going to be reading super heavily this upcoming just week up until Friday. By the weekend I probably will be able to hit a little bit more of this, but like I said, those other 2 books that I kind of have planned out, they do have significantly more pages in it than this book, and I do want to get 3 books out for you. That's the goal. Some of these have audiobooks as well, so I will be able to listen to those while I'm cooking, while I'm in the car, I don't know. But I'm going to get to reading a little bit more of this, and I will let you know what I think. I'll keep you updated. It is Friday. That means for me, it is house cleaning day. Nick is not here today. He's out riding dirt bikes with his buddies, so he's gonna be gone pretty much until the evening. So I'm going to go ahead and get the house cleaned up. I just like cleaning on Fridays because I like to have a nice clean house to enjoy during the weekend. So you're probably like, okay, well, why are you here if you're just gonna clean the house? Well, I actually started an audiobook. It's also pertaining to this video. This is so chaotic and all over the place, but that's just how this week is, I guess. Let me figure out what it's called actually, because I really don't know. I started Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna on top of And Winter Came to Henry's World. So I've been reading And Winter Came to Henry's World on my Kindle, pretty much just been doing that at night. I haven't really had a chance to sit down and physically read it all. And then I started the audiobook on Winter Garden because I spent a good while doing the dishes yesterday, so I went ahead and started that. So I figured I would go ahead and continue to listen to that audiobook on top of reading the other books. So we're just going to be intertwining some books here this time. I'm probably going to finish this book up later on just physically reading it, but as of right now, since I have a chance, I'm going to start it on audiobook. If I would have known that I was going to be doing a ton of audiobook listening, I would have gone ahead and physically started with one of the other ones, because 2 of the 3 books that I have picked out are available to listen to through Kindle Unlimited, and of course I chose to start reading the one that wasn't. So now I'm going to be reading them both kind of at the same time. They're 2 totally different things, I guess, so I don't think that I'm really going to get confused or have any type of issues with that, but I'm going to finish physically reading the Henry book first before I actually pick up Winter Garden and start reading that separately. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Hopefully. Drop all my stuff, I guess, why don't I? Now I don't even know what page. Okay. I'm gonna turn my phone off, right? I'm gonna set it down. It's down, it's on the couch. I don't have it anymore because I don't need to be doing all that, but we're just gonna deep clean today. That's pretty much what we got going on. I'm going to be doing more of a deep clean, I guess, this week. Last week it was just kind of love him, thank you so much for helping, but Nick helped me, and you know, sometimes when other people help you clean, they just don't do it the way that you want them to do it. It just doesn't get done up to your standards necessarily. So God bless, he did help me, but you know I just decided that I need to go ahead and give it a good deep clean myself. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna pop my earbuds in and just go ahead and thoroughly get the house put together. It definitely took a lot longer to clean than I thought it was going to. I guess it didn't take that long necessarily. It was more just I took some breaks, which normally I don't. Normally I just fully go for it and then I sit down afterwards. But it is 2:30. No, it's not. It's 2:57. I was getting at. It's 3 o'clock now. I finished actually a lot more of Winter Garden than I thought I was going to be honest. It says that I'm 6 hours and 17 minutes through the book, which I definitely was not expecting in the slightest. I don't feel like I'm that far into it. I am on chapter 12, which is page 168. That's not too much, I guess. I don't know. I'm 41% away through the book already, which is kind of odd because I feel like I really haven't introduced it at all, but oh well. I guess now I'm going to sit, relax, and I'm going to read some of And Winter Came to Henry's World, just because I want to go ahead and get this out of the way as quickly as possible. Not saying that I dislike it necessarily, but more just I'm trying to finish it up so that way I can go ahead and start reading something different. I got to page 75. I don't know if that's more than when I last updated you. I think I read some last night as well, so I'm 34% of the way through this one, 41% of the way through the other one that I'm listening to on my phone. So I guess that's really not bad. I've been doing the thing, getting some done. I know that I'm not necessarily reading the other one, I'm listening to it, and I know a lot of people have issues with counting that towards reading it, which, you know, I didn't think I was going to listen to as much of it as I did, but like I said, I was whipping it up in the kitchen a whole lot yesterday. Today I took freaking forever to clean, probably like 4 hours-ish, but I deep cleaned everything. Looks good, at least in my opinion. I think it looks good. Also, this one's kind of interesting. They have like a bunch of like pictures and stuff in this book, which is kind of neat, I guess. I can't really see what they are at all. They're kind of odd, but I've got 3 things going on. Also, just while I'm at it, while I'm talking, I am also in the middle of Under the Whispering Door. This is my physical book that I've been reading. So far, I'm enjoying it. I'm only on chapter 3. 28 pages in, so can't really speak much about that, but I'm not really going to be doing any type of video on this, more just reading this for funsies, and yeah, so I'm literally in the middle. That's why I have to have a case on my Kindle. Like, I want to just not have one on there so badly, but I just can't do that. I can't, because I just accidentally threw it into the table. Hopefully I can finish this one up really quick within the next hour and a half-ish, so that way I can be down to reading it too. Then I guess I'll finish the Winter Garden and then start on my 3rd one. I just finished And Winter Came to Henry's World, and I honestly could not stand it. I don't remember literally anything that I read. It was just, I don't know. It was like going in one ear, out the other. I honestly could not stand it. I thought it was terrible. It just felt really childish, I guess, after I was getting into it, and then there were parts that I don't know if it was me not understanding it or it just didn't really explain everything thoroughly, but it was weird. I don't know. It was okay. I don't really have that much to say about it just because it wasn't that interesting, but left on a cliffhanger. And then now I guess there's going to be like 2 or 3 other books, which I did not know that prior to getting into it. I think if I would have known that I definitely would not have started it. But hey, I'm just never going to understand what happened. I'm never going to understand what happened to Henry and his family. I'm never going to know if he got a sister back. Like, just nothing. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with not knowing. Now I'm getting into Winter Garden. Again, I've already finished like 37% of it on audiobook. So I'm on 41%. I'm on chapter 12, and I'm just going to be getting into this. So far, it's like alright. It's kind of slow. I'm not really loving it. I'm not hating it. It's just so-so. I guess we'll see getting towards the end of it how I'm going to feel about it. I already kind of see the direction that it's possibly going. but I don't really know for certain. It's basically just two daughters that their mother never really cared for them that much. She doesn't actually like her kids, it seems like, and they're trying to build a connection with her after their dad just died. So we'll see if they actually get close. So far they're going a little bit, but the sisters are also mad at each other, and there's just a lot of drama going on. So I'm gonna get going with this, and then I'll update you a little bit farther on and see how I'm liking it, if I'm liking it better. Hopefully I like it better. So far it's just, again, I honestly have no idea when the last time I talked to you, updated, whatever the case was. I don't remember. I've been sick. I think I've got like a nasty sinus infection. So I've just been kind of hanging out, doing my own thing. I haven't really been wanting to pick up the camera at all. I haven't even been wanting to edit my video. In the slide, I don't even know if you can tell, but I can like hardly open my eyes. It just hurts. I finished Winter Garden. I had a love-hate relationship with that book because I thought that I wasn't going to like it very much, and so I was struggling with trying to decide on a rating. I didn't really know what I wanted to give it. I couldn't figure it out because half of me really liked the book, but then the other half of me was like, I didn't really care for it that much, and it definitely wasn't something that I would want to pick up, I guess. I don't know how to explain it necessarily, because the first half of the book, it wasn't bad, but it was just slow, and I understand like what it was leading up to. I got it, but it just wasn't super fascinating. It wasn't something that was easy for me to read. Obviously I read a lot of this, or listened to a lot of this. Obviously I listened to a lot of this on audiobook, so it wasn't me reading the slow parts. I think that if I was physically reading them, I would have definitely not enjoyed the book in the slightest. But since I kind of listened to at least 50% of the book, it got all of the slow bits out of the way for me, and I was actually able to engage in it versus me reading all the slow bits and just kind of being confused. Because I would pick up the book every now and then to read it at night. I would read like a chapter here and there, but it was difficult for me to focus on and then also remember what I just read. I don't know why that is. Dude, I'm so out of breath. Oh my gosh. I don't necessarily know why that was, but I just know the first like 50 to 60% I had a difficult time comprehending for the most part. I don't think that I would have been able to get through it as well as I did if I didn't listen to the audiobook. I actually did enjoy the audiobook a lot. I thought the narration was very good. I just liked all the characters that they played and stuff. I guess it was the same lady that narrated every character. It was good. I enjoyed the narration. I enjoyed the audiobook a lot more than I enjoyed physically reading it. Once I got to like the good parts where it was actually getting really exciting and really like what's happening, what's going on, then I was more intrigued and I was actually able to sit down and just read the book. I think I finished the last like 20% just physically reading it. After listening to the audiobook, I did want to continue listening to it on audiobook because I liked listening to it. I just said like the same thing 6 times. After I stopped listening to it on the audiobook, I really wanted to go back and listen to it because I did enjoy it so much, but I just wasn't in a place to listen to an audiobook at that point. I was just reading it and I was just fine with that. It was honestly like really sad. It was definitely a very like empowering story, I would say that. So I really enjoyed it, especially like after we got over halfway through, it started getting really interesting for me and it definitely hooked me a lot better. So I have an issue with saying like I enjoyed the last half a lot, but I didn't necessarily care for the first half. But I don't think that the first half was bad. It just was too slow for me and I wasn't getting into it that much. So I don't really know rating wise what I would want to stick with because I did really, really enjoy it again at the end. But the beginning I just didn't care about that much. So it was kind of like a toss-up. I've been in between like a 3 and a 4 for that. I haven't quite pinpointed what I want to settle on yet. I would say for me it's really just, was the ending good enough to actually sway the entire story for me? And I think as of right now I would probably say yes, but I'm going to give it a couple days to sit and think on it. Definitely not something that I've ever read before, obviously. I think that was historical fiction and I don't think that I've ever physically read a historical fiction book before. I've read like a historical fantasy, I think, or it was set in like the 1800s or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But this was a totally different thing. This was very real world. Like, honestly, this is something that I could see being a legitimate, actual, true story. And for that, I enjoyed it. I did really like it, but again, it just didn't hook me as much as I was hoping it would. I think I would definitely be interested in reading some of her books going forward, but I think it would be more of an audiobook thing for me, just because historical fiction, like I said, was very slow in the beginning, and I had a difficult time getting into the reading part on the slow bits. But enough about that. I liked it. It was good. I would recommend it for sure. I thought it was very, very fascinating. It was definitely something that I've never read before, and I thought it was a very, very moving piece of literature. Would that even be considered literature? I don't even know what that is, to be honest. Maybe that's stupid of me, but whatever. But I liked it. It was really good. It was definitely very moving, I would say. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that I read, what is it, Kristen Hanna? I'm glad that I actually got one of her books down. There was one that I was going to pick up at the store one time, and I didn't. I chose something else over that. Now I kind of wish I would have gone back and actually got that one instead, but it is what it is. I can't change that. But now I'm starting The Stroke of Winter by Wendy Webb. Again, it's just got winter in the title, so I figured that was a perfect thing to pick. I think this one's a thriller, if I'm not mistaken. There was one that I really wanted to read, and it was a thriller, and I was like, that sounds really cool. I was excited about it, but it wasn't on Unlimited. I think it either wasn't on my library or it had a long wait. I can't remember what it was. I think that it had a wait, to be honest, because I think I remember seeing it on there. I don't know. Whatever the case was, I couldn't pick that one, so I ended up picking this one instead. I just looked up winter thriller books. This one came up. I think it's got like a 3.99 star rating on Goodreads. Don't quote me on that, I think. I don't know. I just really wanted to read a thriller, especially after the other two books that I read. I think the first one was like more of a children's fantasy. The last one is obviously a historical fiction. And then this one is a thriller. So I'm kind of getting some different genres in there. I think I need something a little bit more fast-paced because, again, the last ones are kind of slow. I already started a little bit of this. So far, I don't remember anything that I've read. Nick was in the middle of watching a show when I started this, and he watches stuff so loud because he can't hear. And I understand that, but he's so loud, and then all I can hear is his video, so I can't even, hear the inner, talking in my head of me reading the book. So then I'm reading the book, but I'm overhearing his stuff, so I'm more subconsciously picking that up because I'm physically hearing it over what I'm reading. So I sat here and I got 2 or 3 chapters in, and just all I could focus on was whatever he was watching that I wasn't even interested in. Let's be real, I didn't care about what he was watching at all, but for some reason I decided to subconsciously pick that up instead of what I did care about. Was anybody else like that? Does anybody else do that? Because I feel like that's really obnoxious. If it's not quiet, I have a difficult time reading, especially the first few chapters of my book. If I don't read that in complete silence, I won't remember any of it. So hopefully I can just keep going on with this book without knowing what I read first off. Usually it's not ever that important. Who knows, this one could be different. I think I'm going to close the blinds and I'm going to lay down right here and I'm just going to read for a little bit. I'm kind of embarrassed because I don't want you to see me mouth breathing, but I'm at the point where my nose is so clogged that I'm breathing onto my lip out of my nose, and I can't stand that. So I'd honestly rather just mouth breathe, but that's not the cutest thing ever that I could do. So who cares? Whatever. I'm just gonna stop talking and we're just gonna start reading.
I thought that you could read and listen to this at the same time on your Kindle, but you totally can't. So I just sat there and I did all this for nothing.
So I've been reading The Stroke of Winter now, and I'm about 30% of the way through the book, I want to say. 46, excuse me. I'm about almost 50% of the way through the book. And I will say that this is my fault, and I should not have done this. But during me being sick, I was really tired, and I just wanted to close my eyes, and I didn't want to be, like, looking at anything, but I still wanted to read my book. So I decided to listen to the audiobook of it. Well, I ended up getting from, I want to say chapter, 3 to chapter 9, I think. That sounds about right. About chapter 9-ish, and I fell asleep a couple times during listening to the audiobook. I don't feel like I really missed anything that important, though, because when I came back and started reading it again, they just, progressed one step closer to what they were trying to achieve. So I don't think that the journey getting there was that necessary. It was just introducing, a worker person, basically just, a maintenance guy that was kind of helping her. I don't even know if I've talked about what this book is about. Basically, it's this girl that she moved into the house that was her grandma's that her parents inherited. Then they decided to move out and live in Florida, and they became retirees or something like that. They decided to move to Florida, and now she inherited this house from her parents. Well, there was a back room in the back of the house that was always closed off for as long as she's seen the house, been in the house, known anything about the house, whatever. Her grandma closed it off, and she decides that since the house is hers, she wants to open that back room up again and make a master suite in this home, because the home is supposed to hold guests and stuff. It's kind of like a bed and breakfast, I guess. So she wants that to be the master suite, so she decides to open up the whole thing. Well, in opening the wall, she finds her grandpa's art studio. He's a famous painter, something like that, and she finds some unseen, unreleased, whatever the term is in the artist world, some paintings of his that have not come to light. Nobody's ever seen them before. They're undiscovered, I guess. Undiscovered paintings of his that could be worth multiple millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. And she's trying to keep that under wraps, but things keep happening to where she starts to think that the house is haunted, and she can no longer keep the paintings under wrapped from certain people. That's pretty much where I'm at now. She now thinks that the house is haunted. She doesn't really know what to do. She's either between house haunting and burglars and stuff like that, but she was well, at the end of the day, if there's burglars, why aren't they taking anything? They're just coming in and moving things around. So she kind of thinks that it's haunted. She doesn't really know how to feel about it. She doesn't necessarily want to be there anymore, but she kind of is just staking it out, I guess. I don't know. It sounds so boring whenever I'm explaining it to you. It's definitely not bad by any means. I'm just trying to figure out, what's going on necessarily and how this is gonna be, a super good book. I'm really just not grasping where the story is gonna go. I don't know if it's going to be, a paranormal thing. I don't know if it's going to be a tall tale thing. I don't know if it's actually going to be somebody that's doing this. I don't know if the people that are in her life right now are going to stab her in the back. I don't know what's going on, especially since I don't know what the back of the book says, so I don't necessarily know what the description is and how they go into talking about what the book is overall. So I'm just kind of really clueless. I've definitely went in very, very blind with this one. I'm not mad about it, but it's kind of so-so. Again, it's all the other ones that I've read. It's not bad. This one's probably, so far as of right now, my favorite of the 3 that I've read, just kind of leading up to it. It's not that intense, though. It's kind of a slow thing, so they're not really doing anything super crazy off the get, and it's just kind of figuring out what's going on. So, I don't know. It's just very light and minimal. I'm definitely not mad at it, but every time I sit down to read it, I feel like I'm not fully focused on it, so I'm just kind of sticking to the audiobook right now. I did just get a bed frame to throw underneath the bed so that just Nick can throw his army stuff all underneath the bed. So that way it's not in the outside storage closet, because he had to literally drag everything that the army has ever given him out, and it's all just sitting in the living room, which I guess is perfect timing because he told me about this a couple days after I ordered this bed frame, so I figured I would just kind of surprise him, hopefully put it together myself, and then he'd come home, and then we would reorganize everything this weekend. So I guess it worked out fine. He ended up having to drag everything out, and then I was like, well, this bed frame is going to come in, 2 days after you're doing your whole shenanigans over there, so it'll be fine. But that means I have to set it up. I don't have to, but I want it to be a surprise. I think I'm gonna crack open a Red Bull, start my audiobook, hopefully get the rest of this done at least. I want to say there's like 5 more hours, 3 to 5 more hours of the audiobook, something like that. So I should be able to finish at least most of it, and then I could probably finish the rest of the book tonight, if not in the morning. I don't really know. It's kind of just going slow. I'm not really in the mood to read right now. I think I've been obviously sick. My head has been hurting so bad. I'm just gonna put a little caffeine in my system. We'll see if that helps anything. Build this bed frame. I might bring you along with me. I don't know. My camera's about to die, so I do need to charge that up first. And then I guess I'll kind of update you a little bit if anything else exciting happens in the book. That's not going to be like me spoiling it for you, but who knows? We'll see. So this is kind of dumb of me. I put all of the mattress in the box spring over here so I could just kind of build everything over there and then just flip it all back on top of it. But all of our tools are down in this little bookcase. So I don't know if this is going to come with any tools or if it's going to be difficult to put together, but if we do need tools, this is not going to be fun. Because this mattress, literally, I kid you not, it weighs like probably 100 pounds. Probably more than 100 pounds. It probably weighs like 150 pounds. Maybe I'm just exaggerating because I can't guesstimate weight at all, but it's so heavy and I just moved it all by myself. I'm also going to change shirts because I'm going to get so hot. So I just finished setting up the bed and I cannot get over how hilariously tall this thing is. Okay, so this is like one of those bed frames that doesn't require the box spring, and I obviously have a box spring and I can't dispose of it right now, and I don't want to obligate Nick to disposing of it anytime soon. It's been really rainy the past few days and I don't want him to have to take it anywhere right now. I'd rather just make a trip on Saturday or something like that. Now, this is literally like a college university dorm bed. Like, that's what it reminds me of. It's so tall. But when Nick and I were looking at him, he insisted that we get the 18-inch instead of, I wanted to get the 14-inch, which would have left a 12-inch clearance underneath the bed, but he said that there's absolutely no way that he was going to be able to get all of his stuff under the bed. It was only a foot tall, so I had to go ahead and get this one. This one gives 16 inches of clearance, so hopefully that'll be enough. But this sucker is tall. It's like comically tall. Like, it's hilarious. I'm gonna stand next to it so you can see what I'm talking about. So obviously, again, I'm trying to like use blankets to cover up the box spring, but like, this is so tall. It's so funny because I'm not a tall bed girl. Our bed was literally on the floor, so whenever we first moved in, we had the actual mattress just on the floor before we brought the box spring in. Then we put the box spring on it and it lifted it up fine. But now I'm thinking that it would be about the same size off the ground to go ahead and scrap the box spring and just put the mattress on the bed frame instead. We'll probably just do that on Saturday or something like that. But it's done. I think it's so goofy. We're literally going to have to jump into bed to get in here. But that's okay. But I've actually had this phone for about a year now, and this is the first time I've actually dropped it, so that's cool. But I have 2 hours and 48 minutes and 39 seconds left in this audiobook, so it's going along swimmingly. I'm listening to it on 1.3 speed. I normally try to listen to it as fast as I can without the audio skipping almost. Not skipping, but like where they just talk too fast, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe you don't, because maybe you enjoy whenever they it like hits that extra notch of just all the words are running together. I don't like that. So as soon as I hit that notch of all the words are just moving like a freight train, then I just drop it down a peg. So usually that's about 1.3. I am on page 130. No, I'm on page 193 of 291. So how much? That's like 200 pages left? No, that's 100 pages left. Yeah, that was stupid of me. About 100 pages left. So hopefully I'll finish that relatively soon. I'm probably just going to clean up the mess, still listen to the audiobook a little bit, but I don't really have that much to do to like listen to an audiobook. I'll finish it within the next day or two at least, but so far it's definitely picking up a little bit more. It's still on the slower side. It's not like a fast book. It's not fast paced or anything like that. Let me jump into the light here just a little bit. It's not really a fast paced book by any means. I don't think that it's too slow, but it's still just kind of dragging on. And it's not super, super exciting. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with the house, what is in the house, if it's a person, if it's a ghost. More and more people are getting involved, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of making me, not nervous, but like I'm just kind of nervous to see like what's going to happen and like how the story's going to play out. It's still just very interesting to me, but it's definitely not like, I don't know, I've never been so, I don't even know what the word would be. I've never, like, not had any idea what is going on or what could be going on. I'm just, like, absolutely clueless. I don't have any ideas of what's going to happen. I'm not, like, brainstorming anything. I'm normally trying to figure out what's happening and what's going to happen and how the ending's going to, finish up, if there's going to be any plot twist and what the plot twist would be. But as of right now, I'm just listening to it. I'm just having a blast. I'm not really thinking too much into it, which is kind of nice because normally I just really, really want to guess the plot twist, so my brain is just chugging along. But for this one, I'm not really doing that. I'm just hanging out, having a good time, just listening to it. I will hopefully have this all finished by tomorrow because it's only like 98 pages left, I think. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I just finished up The Stroke of Winter a couple days ago. I was listening to it while I was building my bed frame, and then the other night I just went ahead and finished the whole book. I was definitely having a hard time sleeping, so I think the last like 100-something pages I just ran through it super fast and finished it up. I will say that I don't necessarily have any strong opinions on that book. I finished it up and then I immediately went into a romance that I'm absolutely eating up, and I don't remember much of that book at all. Like right now, I haven't thought about it before I started talking, and I don't remember what the book was about at all. Let me think about it for a second. Let me think about what it was about. Okay. It literally wasn't anything crazy at all. It literally just wasn't that great. It was a very mid book, I guess, like just one of those that you read it and completely forget about as soon as you read it. I am talking immediately after I finished the book, and whenever I started the next book, I completely forgot what I had just finished. I lost every single thought that I had for the book, which wasn't really that many anyways, and was just kind of like, I was done with it. I completely wiped it from my memory pretty much. It still was pretty slow the rest of the time. It didn't really pick up much at all. I didn't care for the like haunted house aspect of it. I didn't care if it wasn't a haunted house. I didn't care if it was just like a person that was doing this. It wasn't intriguing me at all. It just was very boring. And then once we got to the bulk of like what was actually happening and then trying to fix it, it was still just like, whatever. I think maybe whenever we finally came full circle and decided what happened, it was kind of okay, but it still just wasn't great. I didn't really like it that much. So it wasn't bad, but I didn't care for it. And I definitely won't think about it ever again. And to be honest, it was very hard for me to remember what it was about, and I just finished it like a day or two ago. In my opinion, that's pretty bad, so I really don't have much to say about it other than I just would not recommend it at all. I didn't really like it, and it was just a book I read, I guess, for the video, and that was it. So I read 3 books for this. I have to go back and look because I don't remember them at all. I read And Winter Came to Henry's World, I read Winter Garden, and I also read, I don't even remember what it's called again, The Stroke of Winter. The Winter Came to Henry's Garden, again, I didn't care for that one at all. It's a very new book. On Goodreads, somebody rated it as I was reading it, and so I'm like the second person at all to rate the book, which is kind of terrible because I feel like it was not a book that I figured I was going to enjoy. After I got into it, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like it that much, so I should have maybe not rated it or something to save the author tanking their reviews, unfortunately, because the other girl rated it the same that I did, and at least as of right now, so that's not very good. Hopefully he's not looking at it, or she, or whoever. But, oh well. Winter Garden was probably my favorite of the three that I read. It was a somewhat slow start, but I think it was more like historical, I guess. I think it classifies as historical fiction, but I'm not positive. It wasn't bad by any means, but the first 50% of the book, it was just like telling a story, I guess, and there wasn't much excitement, there wasn't any romance, so there wasn't anything that like I was clinging to necessarily. There wasn't anything going on that was emotion provoking, at least from me. So I didn't necessarily get into it that easily. It kind of took me a while. Once we started going along with the story and then figuring out the mom's past, and once she finally started opening up and talking to her daughters, it got a little bit more exciting. And then once we started actually digging into her past and her story and her explaining the whole thing, it really went full circle to me. And the ending definitely was an ending good enough to sway my entire opinion on the book, because I was kind of iffy like on if I actually liked it or not, but then after I got to the ending, it definitely made me really enjoy the book, not necessarily as a whole, but to just talk about the book as a whole. The ending really swayed my overall feelings on the book, so I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I did in the beginning because the ending was so good. So I don't know if you've read books like that. I've read one book where the ending genuinely swayed my opinion and I completely changed the rating based on what I got out of the end. So this was kind of similar, but not quite. I don't know. I didn't rate it as highly as the other book, but I did still enjoy it. And if the ending didn't happen the way that it did, I probably wouldn't have cared about it as much, but I still liked it. It was pretty good. Then, again, the last book I just talked about, I don't remember much about it. It was boring. It was kind of a letdown. I don't even know what I would want to rate it, to be honest, because it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like I didn't like it, but I just didn't care for it, I guess. And to me, that's like two totally different things. So I guess right now I'd be sitting between like a 2 and a 3 star, but I guess I won't lock that down until I give my ratings for all the books that I read this month. So we'll see. But these are all the winter books that I decided to read. Obviously, I need to do better about picking options that I feel are more suited to my taste. I feel like all the books that I pick for like stuff like this, if I'm doing Kindle Mystery Challenges, I don't find the best books, and I don't like not enjoying the books that I'm reading because I feel like it definitely puts me in a reading slump. We'll figure something out. We have Valentine's coming up, so I'm possibly going to read some Valentine's romance, and then I might just put them on the back burner and just stick to actually reading books that I want to read for a while. But we'll see. I probably won't do that because I always love the challenge. But that's it. These are all the winter books that I picked up this winter. Let me know if you've heard of any of these. Let me know if you've read them. I feel like the only one that people would have actually read would be the Winter Garden one because that's kind of a well-known author. The other two, definitely the other one was like just came out like probably a month before I read it, and it was not popular at all. And then the other one just I don't know. I really don't know. But let me know if any of these books sound interesting to you. Let me know if you've read any of these, and let me know what your opinions of them were because I'm really curious to see what y'all thought of any of these books. But I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week, and I hopefully will get to see you in the next one. See ya.